Hey, Jay. Welcome to Satsang. I think I began attending Satsangs about 55 or 60 years ago. Most of them were Muktananda style, but there were others. I loved the chanting at Muktananda's ashram. The Swamis were all friends of mine, and we had a great old time chanting. But as you noticed, chanting is not harmonious with a cute and rapidly functioning mind. It's hard to be an accountant and be a meditator also. They clash. The effects on the mind clash. But right now, for the purposes of this exposition, I just feel into my body. And all that there is bliss plus body feelings. That bliss has been taking me over more and more. So pretty soon I'll become a samadhi junkie. Playing all kinds of songs that make me feel happy and everybody else miserable. Really, chanting is the key, or a key for a lot of people, not the key. I always hated chanting going into it because it seemed so mindless and something that if you didn't have a brain, you did as your spiritual practice. But my God, what it can do for you. To leave you in such states of bliss. With it not wearing off for a day or so. And you can still feel the bliss throughout the body, way after satsang ended. And you can truly say, this state is far more fun than everyday mind. There's a certain value that comes with being able to function without using your mind. As long as the functioning isn't too complex, it's easily done as we do in satsang. In a real zendo, however, it's much easier. The practices are so routine. Everything is governed by bells or a clacker to tell you what to do. So you can more easily focus on whatever you want to, whatever is inside of you, or the chanting or the words. There's nothing higher that I know of than sitting until you're in bliss. I know there are many teachers that look down on bliss. Many that look down upon instruction. Many that look down on prayer. But all these practices have their place, and I appreciate them. The teacher, I think, that brought me the most happiness was Muktananda. With his chanting and with the people at his center that had 100 monks. It was spread all over the world. There were some wild days there when the chanting let go, and Muktananda, or one of the senior monks, was leading it. The energies were wild, and you could feel them throughout your whole body, and you couldn't think because you were washed away by all of these various energies and responses to the energies. But you shouldn't think of them, these practices, as a pathway to self. Because I think what you experience in these exercises is what spirituality is all about, as well as learning to hold on to that bliss until it becomes a natural part of your being. Although that's frowned on in most Zen circles. On the other hand, in most Zen circles, they don't talk about their own experiences, except to the guru. And even then, they may not talk to them as openly as people do here. I was reading yesterday, I think this is Nisargadatta's fourth book, written by, or edited by, Robert Powell. This is on page 6. If you discuss things with me based on the traditional literature and the traditional knowledge, there will be so many pundits who will be so knowledgeable they will eat me alive. And yet, where the basic knowledge is concerned, which I deal with, and that by that he means the basic knowledge is the most primitive knowledge, like knowledge of ourselves, of our breathing, of the state of our body, the state of the space around us. That's what he is talking about, which I deal with. Why do these people remain speechless? He's talking about in his own group. Why don't they talk? Because it is something totally different from anything that can be understood. That is, the truths that are revealed both in chanting and in the talks he is. Whatever is understood, whatever is seen, is not true. Any questions? Let me read that over again. And yet, where the basic knowledge is concerned, which I deal with, why do these people remain speechless? Because it is something totally different from anything that could be understood. Whatever is understood, whatever is seen, is not true. Now, what is he saying? Anything constructed by mind, where words are involved and concepts are involved, where it's either true or false, is a lot like using a powered jackhammer to pound a picture nail into the wall. Worded knowledge, worded concepts fail. And so, what Satsangs said comes into play. You must become dumb as a rock. Dumb as a rock. No concepts, no thinking about what meditation is about, no thinking about the difference between somebody that's not practicing and somebody that is, or no thinking about what the Dharma is. There's some thinking, but it's just on what you're going to do next in a highly regulated life in an ashram, which is mostly run by bells and whistles and clackers, so that you don't have to spend time thinking. These monasteries, like I have Mount Baldy Zen Center, get you used to a life without thinking that everything has problems, everywhere there's problems, and you need a mind to think of solutions. So it's to get you out of the mindset that you're faced with problems which you have to answer, including what the hell is freedom all about? Now this is the sticker that'll get you all the time for 60 years. You can keep farting around trying to understand what Zen is, or what Muktananda said, or whatever it is. So I'll replace it with another concept there's out there. Is good enough knowledge, which is enough to keep you from shitting on the kitchen floor and going to a bathroom instead, and not saying such things that are so egregiously offensive that you get punched in the mouth. When we talk in simple terms like this, we're talking about life itself and how we experience it in very general terms. I think life, as experienced by most Americans, is far too complicated. We made it that way. The United States has complicated lives. There's so many things you can do. So many avenues are lighted up. So many are written about that you get besieged by television images, thoughts from others, questions, in everyday life and going to school, they absolutely ruin you because they teach you concepts of how to measure and use things in measurement. You lose your freedom because you are absorbing all this knowledge, which you think is rubies, when in fact you're building a ruby-walled prison. Complete freedom means no thought. If there's a thought, it comes, lights up your mind for a second, 2 seconds, or 3 seconds, and then goes away. The mind doesn't even have to shut it down. The mind that's peaceful is quiet. I would have said a long time ago that you're happy. But that's a bit much. You are very different than 2 or 3 years before, but there's something different. Your mind is far more pliable. And you don't wrap it around rules and problems that would take forever to solve. You've become exhausted by ideas and concepts and theories until you become dried out, searching for some wetness, some love, some involvement. But when you practice Zen, all that goes. And what you're trying to do in meditation is to dive deep into your own darkness within and just hang around there. Hang around the heart or the gut for long periods of time, doing nothing. The mind gets a little simplified, yes, and it gets outraged that it's being left out. But my God, how gentle it feels compared with being wide awake, trying to understand what Buddhism is all about, or God is all about, or society is all about. But now my practices has changed for the last 5 or 6 years. I feel happiness now, most all of the time. Sometimes when I've got a radio on or television on, I get taken by the speakers and follow what they're talking about because it's a habit. But when I pay attention to what they're talking about, I realize this is not the place to be. It's talking about how to walk, how to exercise, how to eat food, how to get a PhD, how to learn about self through various arts. None of these things interested me. If you got a mind that works, after a while, the working of your mind, no matter how greatly fantastically. It's not so much. You've proved to yourself a long time before that you've got a good mind, and you don't need to hear that anymore. What you want to do is merge your conscious mind into the size, into the intensity, and into the meatiness of the human world. Thus, people become trapped in themselves, even after starting a spiritual practice and lasting 5 or 6 or 10 years. They say, I don't need to practice anymore, mainly because they recognize that meditation has not been making them understand anything any better. The words of the gurus still confuse. You read a paragraph and it leaves doubt, or there's a titillation of such depth as to make you want to read more and more because it's titillated something in you. Where is it? This is page 6. If you discuss things with me based on the traditional literature and the traditional knowledge, there will be so many pundits who are so knowledgeable they will be able to eat me alive. And yet, where the basic knowledge is concerned, and he's talking about what he teaches, the basic knowledge which is prior to all of the intellectual knowledge that we're steeped in. Where the basic knowledge is concerned, which I deal with, only do these people remain speechless. Why do these people remain speechless? Because it is something totally different from anything that can be understood. This is key. The key stuff that we talk about here and involved here and in most Eastern spirituality, like Zen, where the basic knowledge is concerned, which I deal with, why do these people remain speechless? Because it is something totally different from anything that could be understood. Whatever is understood, whatever is seen, is not true. So, don't seek words. Don't seek truths and aphorisms or waiting from the words of the guru. What you're looking for comes from sinking levels of consciousness in yourself till you're at the root as far as you can go at that particular time, and keep that up forever. Be with yourself in that way, silently, without speech, just attending, being aware of your presence and what it feels like, being aware of any pains from sitting and stretching. Be aware of the thoughts that come up. Are they about what's happening tonight in dinner? Or are they about something that's just been said in satsang. It's very difficult to remain concentrated on the way because there are so many ways of escape, including listening to the words that are being said in satsang, rather than being silent and just sort of held in a tension of being aware and having some words cross your mind that suddenly reveal something as being true. And you say, aha. And the aha experiences in Zen happen ever more frequently until they dry up themselves from lack of use. Maybe 30 years after you've started. The warning is to beware of the pitfalls provided by the mind that is saturated in a new field of understanding, which is, for example, understanding your own self, who and what you are, what your being is, whether your heart is open or not, whether your mind is open or not, whether your body is open or is it locked up. The spiritual life, when you find a guru that is congruent with your personality and needs, becomes a wonderful thing. Because it realizes it's being freed from the world of concepts, ideas, oaths, understanding, plans. And a new center is forming inside of you of silence and a continuous awareness of your body and the immediate settings around your body, as well as experiencing directly the entirety of yourself that's always there. By the self, when you look inside, you can be aware of the self as being the container for the meditation, as well as the meditation offering an image about the practice that helps you understand a bit more what you're doing. But I'll tell you, don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. On the other hand, when you've been pursuing practice for a long period of time, it's absolutely required to get some separation from the practice and become a bum for a week or a month, where you give all of that up and just relax or become a soldier, whatever you want to do, but change. And then when you come back fresh and see things in a deeper way, which is encouraging of you. Robert was always pretty easy to understand. But also his talks were not very deep. He talked them sort of rote, like this is how to be, and this is how masters are. And although he was thorough, he didn't seem to pierce very deeply into things. I'm sure he did. But when I was listening to him, I didn't feel the piercing truth that I felt with Muktananda, for example, or Nisargadatta. Learning the utter truths is no simple thing. I mean, it's simple. But there are so many teachers out there teaching, and each one has a vast knowledge. And if we're captured by knowledge rather than adopting a quality of existence, we will be wasting our time. It's in emptiness we have to find our truth. When we stop the mind and burrow down into the darkness within and just rest in ourself in meditation, becoming nothing, guarding nothing, thinking nothing. Well, of course you think for a while, but you stop after a while. And then it comes back. It's always a problem. But also, in a meditation center, the surroundings have been sculpted by whoever the Roshi is to present a group of walls, an environment of learning about oneself. You're no longer in a very fragmented world with kindergarten spirituality, but a very uniform world filled with all kinds of positive spiritual states, like feeling the energies, feeling Kundalini, feeling the body react to what's happening in the room, like if it's getting cool or chill, or there's a sound. Basically, you're at peace inside yourself, but something disturbs. Maybe somebody coughing too much. But you notice there's no meditation where people seem to cough too much. The coughing may be there, but they don't persist in it. It's all very mysterious. The non-verbal states you go through really shut you down from talking because it feels so blissful to not have your mind working and to be in one of those states where you're vastly empty because your mind has stopped and all those rooms that you hang around in are gone, and you're in the emptiness of self, which is vast, or can be vast. And then when the teacher talks about the vastness itself, it goes one step further and becomes electrified. The Guru and you are caught in the grip of truth. And the energies shoot through you, opening up your pores, opening your muscles, making you feel alive. The way of Nisargadatta and those of his ilk is very difficult because it's so easy to be brought back into the world of thinking because of Maharaj's continual talking about outrageous things that leave you feeling, what? And then you're following up by your own investigation. There are so many levels of truth in Nisargadatta that it's so easy to get lost in the pile of them. While you may have suffered many times going into meditation and coming out without anything, after a while you start coming out with answers suggested by Nisargadatta. And you have to recognize that and deal with it. Do you go along with it? Or do you hold back from accepting the truth being spoken because it doesn't suit you? Or you don't trust it because it's words? But Nisargadatta does not use words in the same way the average person does. He uses it in a way like a drunk elephant roaring through your body, your personality, tearing up fields, destroying crops, bending the floor, etc. The books and the teachings of Nisargadatta, among others, but mostly him, that take you beyond this world and into the world of your own body, which is now electrified with Kundalini and with happiness, meditational happiness. So you stop and you feel that happiness. That would be fine if it were by itself, but also that same mind that just rediscovered some deep spiritual principle likes to talk, likes to listen to talks, likes to think, and drags you back to thinking gradually. Fortunately, in our Sangha, there are a lot of people that are just willing to let go, to go beyond themselves, finding the root and feeling what the root feels like. Not what is the root, like a Pythagorean theorem, but to feel the root as it grasps your personality. Feel the I-ness inside. Feel the bliss of certain things that are said. Feel the emptiness and the bliss of not speaking. Notice that words can be as much a blockage as a doorway to truth. The way Nisargadatta talks is only conducive to going deeper. Everything he said can be taken from that point of view, even when he screams at you and tells you to close the door or drop the lights. Come with closed eyes. Look within yourself. Look backwards into the third eye. Feel the strain on your eyes as they turn inward and upward. The strain lasts but a short period of time. Enter your body and feel all the various things you feel inside yourself. Some of the pictures you have in your brain almost have a form. I mean, they may talk about form, but they themselves has a form which is different from the form they're talking about. The talking is mellow or it's stringent. It's logical or it's illogical. It's loud or it's silent. It's melodious or it's stiff. It's arid or it's pensive. plentiful. Be comfortable being aware, but not being enlightened. Be comfortable being aware of yourself, who and where you are. Feel the happiness you feel when your eyes are half open and your attention is in the third eye. And the silent body below seems to be asking for attention and wanting to be brought back into the groove of attention. Feel what happens to your muscles. How your muscles actually feel happy. If that's the term you would give to them, they feel happy. Not stretched, not relaxed, but happy. Happy dancing muscles. And feel as your meditation deepens, how you want less and less to speak to yourself, trying to understand who and what you are. You would rather instead sink into the self. And we talk about self. And here we're really experiencing self. The self of the body. The self of muscles, nerves, muscles, our backs, internal things that are always making some noise. And how we feel totally rested and at peace. Nothing more to be sought, nothing more to achieve. Just be one's own self. Now, some of you must have questions that you ask yourself during the day. Ask them now. All of us are here to see what you can see. I see my head is very small now. The computer fell over. Sarah, how are you feeling?
Thanks, Ed. Um, I just feel really good right now. This was a very good satsang for me. Um, I think often I'm trying to go back to the calmness, the quietness that my mind was able to achieve when I was very young because of what you said in the beginning. Like there weren't the distractions like there are now. We didn't have a TV till I was 10, and then it was, not much uh, to speak of, and spend a lot of time outside running around with other kids and not thinking, just doing, just being. I'd like today to just be and to be quiet. I love when I can get quiet, and it's really hard for me to get quiet. I have a mind that wants to zip around and chase all kinds of questions and stuff like that. So, this meditation, this satsang, this kind of practice works for me. And I listened to Krishna Das a lot in the beginning. That's the first I really listened to chant kind of music. And now I'm just hooked. It's like I listen to it maybe half the day. I have a chant on that kind of keeps my mind from wanting to niggle at me with all these questions that I can't answer.
Yes, I've done that for years.
Yeah.
Walked around outside with a little pocket
Yeah. I remember you saying that. Yeah.
playing Muktananda tapes.
Yeah.
It was
So,
wonderful.
yeah, it works. It's incredible how it works. And yet it's like, I don't know. I don't have to figure it out now. Brenda used to always say that to me. It's already figured out. Just show up. I think that's kind of cool. Just show up as I am, whatever. So I thank you for today.
You're most welcome. Does anybody want to say anything? It's in with you. It's within your power to free yourself and to be happy. It just takes work. And to tell you the truth, it helps if you're a little stupid and don't wander too far into the broad teachings. It can keep you occupied for 125 years, going to teacher after teacher, trying to find it, the truest of the true knowledge. Just stop thinking the normal way when you realize what you're doing and it's not going anywhere. And instead, look and feel within for the source of your own self, the experience that you feel prior to feeling your own self. Spencer, how are you doing?
Uh, I'm okay. I'm the same. I'm
What?
the same as I've always been.
Michael.
Sure. I don't want to ask you, after such a fine satsang and
Say that again.
such, after such a good satsang and fine teaching, sometimes it's hard to ask a question because it sort of knocked the boat aside a little bit.
Yeah, I understand.
But I was a question though, without knocking the boat off too far of its course. Is there any well, I know the way you teach, one does not get concerned by that much anything except stay the course, but is there such thing as things being preordained and karma that dictates to one's potential?
That what?
Is there any such truth in things being preordained and any elements of karma that dictates a person's potential in spirituality?
Oh, yeah, there's stuff there, but it really doesn't help you to understand if you're capable of being enlightened rather than strive for enlightenment itself. To not think so much about the dynamics of the travel of the journey, and just because the thing is, just shutting the mind down for a few seconds and being able to stay there is such a tremendous change in one's own mind, the freshness it gives, the power it gives, that there's a tendency to automatically believe what you read in books from certain groups without questioning, without, you just instead shut up and listen to what's being said and hope it'll make some sense to you later on, because it's not making sense to you while you're sitting in satsang, because you're in a different state in satsang. But what do you do with those truths that you learned in satsang? And that's part of the sitting process.
Edgy, I've noticed you help us insulate ourselves in calmness and stillness, but once a person's mind's, like when you get developed enough to where you're really calm and still, there's a whole universe out there within that includes psychic shock and all sorts of other realms that things start coming to you and you start seeing all this stuff. And it sometimes gets a little scary.
Yes, it can. But although I've been doing this for, I think officially I've been doing this for 129 years now. So there have been tough spots where I have been sort of feeling lost, or even that there may be some danger involved. I've never really experienced any such danger. I've never, nor have I known anybody that has really experienced that much danger themselves. They may have mental health problems and they may be all kinds of acting out, but it's not because of the practice, it's because they were that way going into the practice, and the practice didn't relieve the expression of whatever was wrong. I don't think that the practices themselves can damage you. I used to think that they were, and you had to be trained in the right way so you didn't screw things up. And that is true with meditation. Yeah. go light on meditation. It's better to just let yourself think a little during meditation than to try to just force the mind away all the time. But there's so little to worry about in terms of going awry in meditation if you're associated with a group and you get checked every now and then, or you go to your favorite Zen master and have a sitting with him where he will officially hit you with an official stick. I remember back at Mount Baldy, I guess I was an angry young man. Back then, too, I was kind of muscle bound from years of weightlifting and having been a bodyguard for celebrities. When I sat, I guess it was in such a way that nobody wanted to hit me on the shoulders. So it was kind of a power of mine to be able to dissuade the Jikijitsu from stopping and blasting me on the shoulders. And that went on for months, until one time there was somebody brave enough to hit me on the shoulder with the Kiyosaku, but it was such a pansy hit, it didn't bother me at all. But someone was able to beat my rap of projected aggression. I remember one time the Jikijitsu was going around pulling people off of the tan. They get that to the Roshi apparently told them to get people worked up and get them aggressive and get them frightened, getting them highly emotional. And he was pulling people, ripping them off of their seat, which was about 2 feet off of the ground. And he came up to me and he started pulling me. And it was so much fun because we were doing randori in the middle of the zendo, him trying to take me down and me trying to stop him from taking down until he gave up. And I felt I won. This is one of my early sessions with Zen. Remember, combat Zen. Learn it from the Jikijitsu, the enforcer. And in this case, it was always the senior monks that were there from Japan, and they would be the number one position in the organization of the various students of the teacher. Remember that for your future use. Laugh at them when they try to take you off the tan. Slap them in the face when they try to take you off and yell at them, "Guts!" Whip out a gun and blow their brains out. Do something different, and you will be remembered. Any other questions or comments? Okay. I love you all. See you next week. Bring some questions. See if they make me angry. See if they get me off my seat and I throw the computer through the air. See if you can get me to react. Give me the finger. I don't care. Let's just throw everything against the wall next week. Take care. Bye-bye. Play some more music, Chris.
Will do. One moment.